All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new movie review. I just got back from watching Venom: The Last Dance, also known as Venom 3, which is being touted as the last film in the Venom trilogy. Well, obviously, it's the last film in a trilogy, but is it truly the last film? Well, I'm not going to tell you during this review, but I will tell you that Tom Hardy said that he will come back in a heartbeat if they do another one. Now, going into this film, I had heard so many different things from different reviews. I didn't read any in depth, I just saw some headlines, and some touted it as the most emotional and best of the trilogy. Others said it's definitely better than 2, but not as good as 1. And I'll tell you right off, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I did the second one, but I do not think it was as good as the first. This is obviously the third film in the trilogy, and it picks up exactly where Venom 2 left off. And so, if you're not caught up, you're going to want to watch both the first 2 films before you go into this one, because there are some returning characters and some story arcs that do carry over from the other 2 films. So let's talk about this film. I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. All I'm going to tell you is that in this movie, there is a world out there in the universe that has sent a creature here to Earth to kill something that Venom has, and it will unleash this evil person from being chained up. Okay? Now, I am not a Marvel fan. So if you guys stick around for the credits and you find out who this person possibly is, I had no idea who it was. So if you're a Marvel fan and you know what that character is, please tell me, because I don't know. But in this film, we are obviously at a place now where we know who Eddie Brock is and we know who Venom is and we understand their dynamics together. This was not directed by Andy Serkis. It was a different director, but this film was partly written by Tom Hardy, and I was surprised to find in the credits that actually Todd McFarlane was one of the people that helped create Venom, which I had no idea about that either. Like I said, not a Marvel fan, but I really did like the first Venom film a lot. The second one, that was all right, but it wasn't as funny or as good and well put together as the first film. This one is definitely better than 2. This film is, I think, the most serious of the 3 films, although it does have a few sequences in it that are a little over the top and a little weird. But for the most part, it is definitely better than 2. Story-wise, I really think this story needed to be fleshed out a little more than it was, because I think the emotional impact they were looking for simply wasn't there by the end of the film, which was a big miss in my view. I really think they could have done a better job on executing the very end of the film. Now, you are going to want to stick around for the credits. There are 2 scenes. One is a kind of in the middle of the credits, and then at the very end, after everything is done, there is one more scene at the very end, which does kind of tie up kind of a loose end that they left during the film. So here's what I tell people going into this. If you like the first 2, you're definitely going to like this one. It is a good way to wrap up the trilogy. I think this story could have been fleshed out a little bit more. We had the introduction of a couple of other characters in here. We had, let's see, I want to make sure I get her name right. It's Juno Temple, plays a doctor in this movie. And you also have Chiwetel Ejiofor. He is one of my favorite actors. I don't know if I'm butchering his name or not, but he also has a role in this. And unfortunately, his role is one of those roles that I wish they would have fleshed out more and should have had a more emotional impact, but simply did not because of how quickly this movie goes. The movie says it is about an hour and 45 minutes. I think it's actually a little bit less than that, because when I left the theater, I think it was about that time, but that didn't account for the trailers that I saw at the beginning. So I'm not sure if they've got the runtime wrong. But it does go by pretty fast, although there are some scenes in this that I really think they should have left out. There are some other interesting characters in this movie as well that we get to meet for some, kind of side adventures that do help push the story along a little bit, but at the end of the day don't really have a whole lot of relevance to the film itself. And so I really wish they would have focused on the story and fleshed it out a little bit more to make it more emotional, more impactful for what they needed to accomplish by the end of the film. So at the end of the day, how many stars do I give this? I give this 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a good movie. It's not a great film, but if you enjoyed the first two, you're definitely going to enjoy this one. It's not as dumb as the second one, and it's not as funny as the first one. But there you have it. Venom 3, Venom: The Last Dance. If you guys have seen it, what did you think? We will see you on the next review.